And if you ask people what they're most afraid of, like that everything will fall apart, China will invade Taiwan, the Chinese currency will lose value, or something bad will happen in Japan, the answer is always more liquidity. Each and every one. CoinMarketCap says that the Ethereum-based cryptocurrency went up 30% last week, because spot-based Ethereum ETFs are being looked into by the US SEC. 11 Bitcoin ETFs were accepted by the SEC on January 11th. Soon after, Ethereum spot ETFs were well known. People who wanted to buy ETFs gave up when the SEC took longer than expected to approve Ethereum ETFs. James Cart and Eric Balunas, two experts on ETFs at Bloomberg, quickly cut the number of people using ETFs from 70% to 25%. Eric sent this out on Twitter. 90% predicted that Bitcoin ETFs would be used last year. The SEC put Bitcoin apps ahead of Ethereum apps on Friday because progress had not been made enough. They were hopeful about the ETF application on Monday. The best Bloomberg ETF, as analyst Eric Balunas found out. A lot of people were angry at BlackRock and its powerful CEO Larry Finn for how quickly the SEC changed its mind after the news came out. He suggested that BlackRock get an Ethereum ETF. Galaxy Full Alex Thorne believes that the SEC will correctly identify share Ethereum as a security. The head of studies at Galaxy Digital said the government can choose between Ethereum ETFs and big altcoins. CEO Raoul Pal talks about the co-founders of Mando OSF Traders and U-Vision. It was talked about Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum theory, and the growth of global funding. It's just noise, right? After every halving, there is a time when prices tend to go sideways. I call it the shift from crypto spring to the start of crypto summer. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone here is crazy though, which makes the market funny. They say, it's over. It's really awful. Everybody gets hacked and trades in stupid stuff they shouldn't be doing. Then, just when everyone thinks it's done moving, it goes off even higher. Like you, I've been just taking a wry look at how people use this place. I mean, the space's mind is a lot like that of an 11-year-old. Okay, I rode 100,000 again. When you play through all of this and ask people what they're most afraid of, that the economy will crash, that China will invade Taiwan, that the Chinese currency will lose value, or that something bad will happen in Japan, every single one of these fears will lead to more liquidity. It's always more liquidity. The only time it's not is when the Fed and other central banks are tightening, which means they're taking liquidity out on purpose. Anything else just makes the drums sound better. That's what I remember when everyone starts to freak out. There would be a huge increase in money in the world if China attacked Taiwan tomorrow, though. There is a lack of dollars, and it keeps moving around when you look at what happened with commercial real estate, Credit Suisse, the yen, and the Chinese. After that, Yellen goes to China twice. It's a deal. She sells more bonds than anyone else in the world. She now sells more bonds than Mike Milken did. She has to sell bonds for a living. She needs to ask the Chinese, hey guys, can you buy our bonds? Yes, but they will say, we need dollars to buy our bonds, your bonds. We're screwed because we have debt deflation and all of our real estate developers are in debt dollars, so somewhere in that, and they're using Japan and China as threats. Check out what's happening to their money. You will also have it happen. Yes, Japan also needs dollars. I just think that a dollar infusion will fix this, because if it doesn't, China won't buy us things. It has to do with how trade around the world works. It's now spread. In fact, it works wonderfully against the ISM. That depends on where you are in the business cycle, which is the same as altcoin season. It's all the same. If you think back, Bitcoin will also be around in the summer of 2020. We haven't even reached it yet, right? It's still May. It really started doing better in September and October, and 2021 was its best year. So the first part, Crypto Spring, is always about how Bitcoin does better than ever and the new kid on the block, Solana. I'm interested in it more the more pessimistic people are about it. It doesn't seem to do better than Solana. As for me, it won't change my mind because I'm still all in Solana, but I do think it will do better than people think over the next 18 months. I still think we're near the bottom. We haven't hit the bottom yet, but let's check. That's what I think will happen. What do you think, Ovi? S1 Statement of Registration. According to the block, this statement answers the most important question about how the SEC will deal with staking. In its new statement, Fidelity has removed all references to staking. This means that the company is going back on its earlier choice to stake some of the fund's assets with a staking provider in order to get staking rewards. The SEC has always been clear about what it thinks about staking. However, some Ethereum buyers are still holding out hope that changes will be made in the future that will let funds stake their assets for bigger gains. What's going to happen next? In 2 days, the SEC has to decide whether to accept or reject VanEck and ARK21's bids for an Ethereum ETF. Let's watch Pal's video again. If we fast forward before we know it, people are putting more money into ETH because using it won't get you fired, right? Let's say there are more financial assets. They could be on the layer as well, but it will still start to gain value because financial assets move quickly and in large amounts. This story can change so quickly because the meme coin story is just a bunch of us who were born and raised in crypto, but what will really drive this space is new money going into the app side of what this technology does. I guess so, but I haven't seen it yet. Do you mean to say, why bother? I don't think we know yet is the answer. We have no idea. All I know is that when real services are added to a network, it tends to stay that way. Think about all the other big layer ones that came out in the past. None of them reach all-time highs again because they never really got the network action. Solana has clearly shown that their product fits the market. If we take away everything that has to do with the space, these are companies that everyone owns that sell block space. That's the different ways ETH and Bitcoin can be used. Does it matter if it becomes boomer or not? I believe we should be careful not to force the way the space is now, which is mostly still driven by shopping and stories rather than use cases, which I believe will change over time, which is like who's actually building. It will make a difference if Disney builds their Web3 design on XYZs. A lot more people will join, and every day there will be tens of millions of new transactions worth tens of millions of dollars. That's what we don't know yet, but it will change. Looking at the cross rates of the charts, like on a weekly chart, helps me avoid falling into that mistake. If something is out versus ETH or Bitcoin and there's something going on, it's very interesting, and that tends to stay the same over a cycle. At the moment, I'm looking at what the next big trade is, since the last big trade was Solana. It will depend on whether it's Celestia, Sui, or Monad. I have no idea, but I'm putting all of these charts up against Solana on my trading view because I'm not going to switch any money unless I can show that it will do better than Solana. When I look at the WIF vs. Solana chart, WIF does better than Solana. That's fine with me, but it comes with a lot of danger. All I did was put one against the other on everything. That would be against Cowbell. Now that Janet has rebuilt the TGA, it's her job to spend the money. Usually there's a $250 billion drop after she's fixed it up after tax season. That's great news since Powell cut QT by a huge amount, from $65 billion to $25 billion. Fed, the amount of net cash goes up. The ECB is going to lower rates. It's very clear that they want to cut as quickly as possible. At some point, the Fed will either cut rates or the markets will start to price it in. There is also the election coming up. There have already been times when Biden talked about just giving money away. The Chinese have said they want to buy $40 billion worth of homes. There's no better way to put it together. There is money coming into the economy and institutions that want to buy. After that, there's a lot of speculation because of meme coins. What a great enormous black hole that is to swallow everyone up. I really dislike it when people say, well, you just need to raise rates. Rate hikes will lead to more debate the more they happen. Why? Since everyone is fucked. That's what's making it happen. I feel like I'm going to guess wildly if you don't give me a chance to get ahead. People don't seem to understand what makes this risky. The same goes for tech stocks, tech stock options, and what just happened with GameStop. It's all the same. In fact, it's the opposite. I feel like I have no choice because things are so bad. Every year, people in the US spend $110 billion on lottery tickets. It's 1 in 300 million that you'll win $1 billion, and it's 1 in 20 million that you'll win $1 million. Your odds are much better at the meme coin casino because of this. It's thought to mean, okay, let's all get together as the cabal. We are now releasing a symbol, and the goal is to make it worth as much as possible. People talk about it on Twitter, which is something we try to do. After that, you throw it away and move on to something else. Is it a bit like the pink sheets, the penny stock market, or the Wolf of Wall Street? There are now more chances that the more crypto-based spot ETFs will be approved by the SEC. This will make it easier for big buyers to put money into the cryptocurrency market. The price of Ether has gone up more than 21% in just 4 hours, to $3,783. The most well-known altcoin is worth more than it has been since March when it hit $4,000. Bitcoin has also gone up a lot and is now trading at its highest level in several weeks. What do you think about how quickly the SEC changed its mind? Do you think that politics played a role in everything? In that case, what do you think will happen to the coin market